Most people know that Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays or national holidays, but today we're going to go a little bit deeper and uncover five of the most absurd and controlling rules that you could possibly imagine. No organized sports. That's right. The organization heavily discourages its members, particularly kids, from participating in organized competitive sports. School football team? Forget about it. Local softball team? Nope. And their reasoning is that it leads to unwholesome association with worldly people, which is a term that they use for anyone that's outside of the faith. They also feel that the time you spend playing games and meeting up for practices could be used for spiritual pursuits, aka knocking on doors and attending meetings. Now, there were several members of my family, including myself, that did participate in band, which I'm not really sure of their reasoning there because I don't know if they thought a person who plays the trombone or plays the flute is less worldly than a person who shoots a basketball. But generally speaking, any type of organized team effort is highly discouraged. So now a kid that just wants to play soccer is looked at as if he's making a selfish and ungodly choice by doing so. And so, what's the real world impact? Well, people have to sit on the sidelines, literally. And so this is more than just missing a game. This is teaching people that the outside world is a spiritual danger zone. Let's talk video games. Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto are some of the popular titles that come to mind, but anything along those lines are going to be considered spiritually dangerous. Now, the official reasoning is that these games will fill your mind with worldly thinking and it will desensitize players to violence. But here's the crazy part: the Bible itself is full of graphic war stories, brutal punishments, and straight genocide. So Jehovah's Witnesses can read about entire nations being wiped off of the map, but sitting in front of a PlayStation or an Xbox, oh no, your soul is at risk, buddy. The infamous tight pants rule. Former governing body member Anthony Morris was probably the poster child for this, from where he literally waged war on men who were wearing form fitting pants. The leaders were told to be on the lookout for pants that were too modern, too fitted, or too metrosexual. And I actually got called in the back room for this. For those who don't know, the back room is a place separate from the main auditorium where you would go to receive counsel. And so they called me in the back because I had took a liking to the slim fit suits. Like, to me, that's modest rather than wearing some of these weird, baggy, cheap looking suits that some of these guys were wearing. I thought it would look better to have a suit jacket that actually fits your body and pants that were, the length and proper size for your height. Well, boy, was I wrong because they called me back there. They started off with a compliment. They said, "Hey, brother, we wanted to talk to you because, the way you dress is nice, but, you know, we're going to need you to take a look at the style of suits that you're wearing because if you keep on wearing them, we're not going to be able to use you." And when they say use you, they're talking about privileges such as passing microphones out or standing behind the literature counter and helping people with literature, those sorts of things. So, because I wanted to wear a certain style of suit, they were telling me I wasn't going to be eligible to do these things anymore if I didn't change my dress. I told my aunt about this, who's an active Jehovah's Witness. I said, "Hey, I got called in the back room. They said something about, my suits and stuff being too fitted." And she was trying to like picture it because it was a new thing. And so I'm describing it. I'm like, yeah, it's like the pant legs, it's like instead of being baggy, they just kind of stop right at the ankle, like they're fitted. And she's like, "Oh, you mean like how the Temptations and the singers used to wear back in the day?" And I was like, "Yeah, like that, the taper fit." And she was like, "What?" So even she thought that it was overboard, but didn't stop her from still attending the meeting stuff because she's still there today. And their reasoning is that having your pants too tight or too fitted could stumble others or it could spark improper desires. But the real reason, it didn't have anything to do with holiness. It was all about total conformity, total compliance, and standing out from the world in the most outdated way possible. No dancing that's too rhythmic. You ever been to a wedding and just wanted to let loose a little bit on the dance floor? Well, not in a Jehovah's Witness circle, you haven't. Dancing that's too rhythmic or sensual? Absolutely discouraged. Modern moves with hip swinging and strong beats are considered freak dancing. So, who decides what's too rhythmic? Well, nobody knows. So, as a result, the members just kind of self censor themselves constantly just in case. Every song, every move, every glance is a judgment test. And so now, an event that's supposed to be fun and joyful is starting to feel more like a chore. The stumbling rule. Now, this is the rule that kind of ties all the other rules together. In practice, Jehovah's Witnesses must abandon personal, harmless choices if there's any chance that it could stumble another member.
We certainly would want to make sure that in no way at all could this cause some stumbling.
And stumbling to them means to bother someone's conscience, to cause doubt, or to tempt someone into thinking a wrong thought. You want to go see a certain movie? Might stumble somebody. You like a certain song on the radio? Be careful, you might stumble somebody. Hell, these people even get stumbled over the type of vehicle that you purchase. If you go and buy a two-door vehicle, they'll be offended because they feel like you should have brought a minivan or a vehicle that has four doors on it so that you can haul people around to knock on doors. And that's no exaggeration. I know of people personally that have opted out of buying vehicles that they like and deciding to purchase a vehicle that they feel would be more suitable to drive around with magazines and knock on doors. And so the most judgmental, easily offended person out of the group sets the standard for everyone else. I've actually been to picnics with Jehovah's Witnesses where I know for a fact some of them drink alcohol. And I remember walking up to a guy like, "Hey man, where the beer? Where the, where the bottles, And he's like, "Oh yeah, we wait till later on in the night, for some of the friends to head out." And I'm just like, I mean, what you doing all of that for? So that type of mindset has Jehovah's Witnesses living in a constant state of self-censorship where they have to monitor every single move. The fear of stumbling someone literally kills your individuality. It puts the paranoia on 100 and it keeps millions trapped in a psychological cage. If you ask an active Jehovah's Witness about any of these rules, they will most likely tell you that these are loving provisions from God to keep you from spiritual harm. But when you really take a step back, you see the reality of these rules and the motive that's behind them. So let me ask you, have you or anyone that you know been counseled or reprimanded about any of these overbearing rules? If so, let me know in the comments. And if you want to get the real truth about an organization that calls themselves the truth, then subscribe to the channel. Additionally, if you would like to become a channel member where you will receive special perks and early access to videos, you can do so for just 99 cents per month. But in the meantime, dodge the tower, claim your power, and I'll see you on the next one.